Hey guys, today we have a massive jungle patch that just dropped, so we're going to check out what's different, what impact it will have, and all of the other stuff on top, like a bunch of rune changes and changes to how kill gold and like bounties work. Let me know what you think. I'm guessing laners will probably like not being ganked as much early into the game, but junglers might just be a tad miffed. By the way, I have a giveaway going on with a bunch of YouTube friends right now. There's loads of RP or gift cards up for grabs and it ends in like 3 days, I think, so link down below if you fancy your chances and you want to enter. So I said junglers might be a little bit sad for a while, and that's all because jungle camps give less experience, but experience does scale up to level 7 where we're back to normal pretty much, and then Scuttle Crab is worth way more gold and experience, but it only spawns one at a time. Really what this comes down to is if you can control the crab, take it every time, and you can level 2 gank as well, like before the experience changes really matter. That seems to be the recipe for jungle cheese so far in 8.10. Experience wise, at least, like the aim is really to tone down how much junglers can do early into the game, so like how much they can gank and stuff. So that basically it's not really decided by jungle pressure, and you can actually 2v2 or 1v1 a little bit more, and the better players should kind of win. What this actually looks like really for the jungler though is you will still get level 2 from the first camp, so all first large monster kills actually get an experience boost. You will not get level 3 after one camp and a buff after that anymore though. So Fox played a bunch on the PB and I watched some of his games. So it was blue is level 2. He did wolves, then raptors as well, and still only about 75% of the way through level 2. Then he took red buff and he got level 3. So it looks like you need 3 camps worth of experience to get from level 2 to level 3 now, which is going to slow you down a lot. Most junglers now, unless you want a level 2 cheese like we said before, you basically added the time it takes to kill another camp on top before you can gank, plus all of the damage that you're going to take from that extra thing as well. This by far is the biggest change coming into 8.10. It will change how you play the game in any role. Like you won't have to be as afraid for a level 3 insta gank like you do now, but as a jungler it will massively change how you have to do it. Something that also kind of ties into this as well that I think you probably should know is the warding totem trinket change. The duration is now 90 to 180 seconds. That is 30 to 60 seconds longer than it was before. The trade-off though is that the charge timer that has been increased and will be 240 seconds down to 120 seconds. That used to actually be 180 to 90, so it's definitely a fair bit more than it was before. It's kind of trying to make placing a better ward more valuable, but also sweeping wards a lot more rewarding if you can do that. Sweeping wards is going to be way more valuable. You'll have to have a couple of sweepers on your team, I think. Like it will deny vision because they can't just replace it as often, but if that happens, it actually makes the map darker than before and allows your team to gank or move around a lot easier because yes, the wards will last longer, but you can't place them as often. If it doesn't happen and you don't sweep them though, you actually leave them up, they will provide more vision for your team and stop ganks or plays from happening for longer. It's a double-edged sword, right? Like this change actually isn't that bad, but the biggest takeaway from it is that if you can sweep a ward, it will mean a lot more for your team. Also, I think as well, deep wards, so like wards in the jungle to track the enemy jungler and stuff, those should be better because nobody sweeps all the way back there, so they'll last even longer and you'll see them for longer. Okay, so we mentioned the Rift Scuttler change. One of the biggest changes actually as well, you'll definitely want to steal this away as a laner now if you can do. They wanted to make it worth fighting for and give whoever really controls this throughout the game a much bigger reward. It has got more health earlier but a lot less as the game goes on, but the experience change is massive. From 10, just literally 10, up to 115 now at the start of the game and 230 by level 9. The gold now also scales in the same way up to 140 level 9, which is double what it used to be. It spawns at 2 minutes now. It will actually spawn both top and bot lane to start the game, but after they are both dead, only one of them will respawn at a time. It will have a marker that tells you when and where though. Respawn time has been lowered from 3 minutes down to just over 2, but the most important thing about this is she won't be nabbing as many honey fruit now if you take it near her, so thank God for that. For real though, like this is a really big change actually for the game. It's a lot more gold, it's up more often, and it gives a lot of experience, so you really do want to take it. In theory, controlling this over the course of a game and taking it away from your opponent should net you upwards of an extra 1,000 gold in your pocket by the end of the game. That is a big deal. It still has the vision, it still has the move speed by the way as well. It's just now way more valuable in terms of experience and gold. The last thing that you really have to know about this patch, if you really just want the basic stuff, is that like kill streaks and bounties, they have changed. Shutdown gold is now only given to the player who kills them now. It is not spread across the entire team. They've changed how it works as well, which we'll go over in a second, but this is the first change really aimed at making us be able to carry more solo and less around our teams. Part of that as well is that assists now on shutdowns no longer give bonus gold at all. They've kind of changed the streaks and stuff as well. So 1 and 2 kill streaks don't give any bounty anymore at all. 3 kill shutdown is a 200 gold bonus, 4 would be 250, 5 is 300, and then after that it just gives an extra 25 per kill. Another big difference though is that before, when you died, you would lose 3 kind of bounty levels and you would go low, so 3 kills worth of bounty if that makes sense. Now though, it will be completely reset back to 0. So if you're really fed, it doesn't matter how fed you are, you get shut down, you will now reset back to 0 and be worth normal gold. That part is probably better for the fed person. You don't have to be as cautious, I guess, after you get shut down once, but it is also better for the person who shuts them down in the first place. Now, instead of 350 gold being shared across the entire team, it would be 250 gold just for that one person. So that one kill for that person is worth 550 gold, which is a really nice swing back to you and might help you just a little bit get back into the game. It is less gold spread across your team, obviously, but that is the idea, rewarding more personal play rather than team play. But again, it might make coming back in a game a little bit harder because there's going to be less gold from a shutdown overall. Those are the main things, but I do want to quickly go back to the jungle just to talk about a few items that have been changed as well. Like, these are kind of smaller though. Hunter's Talisman is going to be buffed, so more healing, more damage, and up to 40 mana regen while in the jungle or the river. Hunter's Machete though is going to be nerfed, so more damage on hit, but 15% less attack speed. And trust me, like, a lot of champions will actually miss that attack speed, even if it shouldn't be too bad. Attack speed is really good. Rune Geckos has had a few tweaks to it as well. So the AP jungle item, it now builds out of Lost Chapter, which is, yeah, the mana thingy, and a jungle item. Partly is because it now has some extra mana on it anyway, and also 10% cooldown reduction instead of the move speed. Rito think that this should allow more AP champions to be viable in the jungle because they all want mana and cooldown reduction anyway. I'm not so sure about that, but it is definitely better than before. Especially with a lot of other changes, and AP champions have been buffed recently, or AP ratios have been buffed. This might actually help a little bit. Those are all the jungle changes that you're going to have to know. It will be a really big impact, but we also have some rune stuff. Most of these are really just adjustments based on like what is a little bit too weak, but we have a few nerfs as well, especially in Resolve. So Demolish has been buffed, but Chrysalis health has been decreased, and bone placing damage reduction has been decreased as well. These are the biggest rune changes we have at the moment. Everybody, well, pretty much every top laner abuses Chrysalis and bone plating together, and now both are getting nerfed at the same time. So Chrysalis is only 10 less health. That's not the end of the world. It's a little bit of a difference. It will make it slightly weaker. Bone plating is bigger though. It starts off worse and ends up worse. This will be blocking a good amount less throughout the entire game. Even though it is only 5 to 10 below what it is right now, that is per hit, remember, as well, so it is a bit more than it seems. I guess really the thing is that bone plating and Chrysalis, when you put them together, were really strong, and both are going to be weaker, so overall those champions abusing it should be weaker in the game. Demolish is in the same row as bone plating, so that is partly why it never gets taken really, but I guess they're hoping 15 more damage on it makes that just a bit better in comparison. Moving on to domination though, cheap shot damage has been increased, and Ingenious Hunter is better to start the game, but pretty much the same late game. Cheap shot was almost never worth taking because it just didn't give enough damage really. Yes, it's true damage, which is really good, but if it does like a minion auto worth of damage, people are not going to take it very often. Now the top end damage has been doubled, so it scales a lot better, and if you can't use sudden impact, you don't want the healing, then you might as well end up taking this instead. Ingenious Hunter is probably one of the most underrated runes we have in the game actually. It affects like trinket cooldowns as well as anything else like locket, shields, or ghost bait or whatever. This just makes it slightly more attractive to take. It doesn't really change anything because it's just putting the cooldown reduction at the start of the game, and then it scales a little bit worse but ends up the same. For sorcery, we have our phase rush buff. I hate saying that word. I almost always get it wrong. It ends up being the same, but starts off with 10% more move speed than before. In game, what that really means for you guys if you take it is that for at least for the lane phase, you'll be getting a lot more move speed than you were before, but eventually, like in team fights and stuff, it will still feel the same. It is actually a good buff to any champion that wanted to take it. It's more niche, right? It doesn't work on everybody, but it's really good actually on those who can use it. Inspiration is the last one we're going to see changes to. The stopwatch is going to transform a little bit earlier. It's still not as good, by the way, as it used to be, but it is down to 8 minutes from 10 now, so it's more worth to take, I guess. You'll probably find it's mostly just champions who have some kind of synergy with it who take it now, like a Morgana or a Fiddlesticks or whatever. It's not really good enough for everybody to want, but it is good anyway. Champion stuff then to round out this video. So Mundo, his ultimate cost and cooldown has been increased. Didn't take very long for this guy to get nerfed. His ultimate cooldown is 10 seconds higher rank 1, by the way, and a 20 rank 3, plus we have that 5% more health you have to pay to activate it. Mundo is top tier right now, massively in the jungle and top lane as well, and I doubt this would be enough to lower that since the healing buff is still there. That was the major thing they changed before, and they haven't actually tweaked that either. They're trying to nerf other areas and keep that intact, but I think honestly the buff massively outweighs these few nerfs. Sion is getting even more nerfs this patch. I mean, he has been nerfed a lot recently, but then he is kind of a top tier tank, I guess, slash damage champion in the top lane, so maybe it's deserved. It's really focused around his E this time, so base damage has been lowered, ratio increased, but you don't really build AP on Sion anyway. It doesn't do bonus damage for the pass through, but the E armor shred now applies to everybody it passes through in last 4 seconds. It can seem a little bit confusing, but basically Riot's idea here is that if the E armor shred applies to everybody it passes through, then a follow-up Q afterwards, because its physical damage, will do more, and hopefully people start to max Q instead. What they really want you to do, how they want you to trade, is use your E for the armor shred and then use your Q for the damage. They really want to get San away from being a poke champion with his E. That is what this change is all about. We have a few small changes as well, like Poppy's getting a bit more move speed, but Zac, his WAP ratio has been completely removed because his E and ultimate AP ratio has been increased. They really want to reward you for playing damage Zac instead of like full tank. It's actually really fun and he bursts really hard. You're actually going to have more bursts now if he can land his E on top of someone and follow it up rather than spamming his W. Bard is getting a spawn as well. His W mana cost has been decreased. He's in a pretty rough spot actually at the moment, so they're hoping more heals means a better lane phase outside of just his stun and his damage. It's not that bad really. Mana cost is a kind of a cool thing to buff because like every 4 times you use it now, you basically get another one, the 5th one, for free compared to what it was on live servers before. Finally then Kindred, if an ally kills a hunted jungle monster within 6 seconds of Kindred hitting it as well, Kindred still gets the stack for her passive. It's a really nice quality of life change anyway, and I think Kindred is already pretty underrated as a champion. I think we saw her in MSI, or them and MSI actually as well, right? I'm not sure about in this new jungle meta with the changes, but it will like help her scale a bit better and hopefully pick up a few more marks over the game, which can make a big difference because a new passive system with the marks is a lot of extra utility and damage. So there you go. Those are the new jungle changes and everything else that dropped today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, but for now, I will leave you with the robots.